Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. BTM here, bringing you another match in our Age of Empires 3 series. This one is a 2v2 on Sajane, and I have to say, to begin, this is my first map on Sajane, I think, since my video number 2. Like, I have not played on this map all that much, if at all. I don't remember playing on this map, and it was crazy for me playing it, just thinking about how far we've come. Now, right off the bat, I immediately screw up. I don't even bother to grab my crates initially. I messed up my beginning really badly, and then I have a villager walking around a herd, and the beginning of the game is atrocious just in terms of the micromanagement. And I immediately remember thinking at this point, when I was going to grab that treasure, thinking, I gotta step this game up. I can't be playing like this. And I do step this game up, and it ends up being an awesome game. But before we get any further into details, let me just say that on the enemy team we have Ottoman in orange and Aztec in blue, and on my team we have the Dutch in pink and me as Aztec, of course, in yellow this game. And this was a really interesting game for me. It was a 2v2, which is awesome, obviously, but we walked into their game lobby as opposed to, you know, just finding it randomly, and they were already pre-teamed. So it's obvious that they had some kind of strategy, and it was kind of exciting to figure out what kind of strategy they'd want to do. And I really enjoy going actually into 2v2s with people who are kind of planned out and prepared. Because it's just a lot of fun to, you know, see what they do. Generally, there's a higher level of play, there's a high level of cooperation and cohesion, and it can be pretty exciting. I was really terrified that my roommate, oh my goodness, that my teammate didn't speak English. He hadn't spoken at all before this, and I was kind of scared. We were a little bit higher ranked than the other team, but they accepted the match anyway, so I assumed they were Smurf accounts. But I was really nervous that he wouldn't speak English, but he ended up speaking English. Now, what we do know is we're facing an Ottoman and an Aztec this game, so we know they're going to rush. It's so obvious. We can expect probably Abyss guns and Macedonians, or Abyss guns and Coyotes, or something like that combination. Maybe Abyss guns and Pike, maybe a slight amount of Hussar, if any, thrown in there, and that's about it. But we know what they're going to do is fairly obvious. Mainly it's just because we play with all the civilizations so much, or we just can kind of figure it out. But there wasn't much surprise to us about what units they were going to bring on the field. So the question for us is, how do we beat whatever unit combo they're going to put on the field? And the other question is, how do we protect ourselves, considering that we are both relatively far away. If you notice, pink is up at the top of the map, I'm down at the bottom, and it's very safe and obvious to assume that their side of the map is exactly the same. So obviously somebody's going to be coming to rush me. But as we're looking through all that and thinking about all that, I'm gathering treasures. There was actually some great treasure gathering. I gathered 3 or 4 already. I am going to be able to get that Coeur de Bois treasure, and I am going to age up with 14 villagers. The Aztec economic strategy I was trying in my live narrated game that I didn't really explain super well involved aging up with 18 or 19 villagers, and then sending 5 villagers in the second age and really having a much stronger economic base. But because we know we're going to be rushed, we're going to age with 14, and it's important that we hit the colonial age as fast as possible, considering that the Ottoman is simply just going to blitz in there. As you can see, the other team has already bought a trading post, and we know that the Ottoman is the one who has taken that trading post. Now, I decided here on to age up with 2 Skull Knights, and then I realized, you know what? Even though the Skull Knights is a great choice for the Aztec because it allows you to pretty much siege buildings really well, and they're 2 very strong early units, I decided to go for the fast age up instead, knowing that it'd probably be faster than I would be able to get my wood for my war huts, but it would allow me to utilize a colonial age shipment faster because I already have 1 shipment ahead. So that's why I decided to age with the fast age up here. It's actually going to make me the first one to the colonial age, and I should hit it about 4 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, or 3 minutes and 40 seconds, pardon me. Now, something that was completely awesome here, if you look at the huntables on my side of the map, if you watch this in HD full screen, which we fortunately are able to bring to you, if you look at all the huntables on the map, they are all behind my town center, which is going to be very crucial. It's going to allow me to really herd away and have a steady axis of herding away from the enemy. But as you can see, we're now in the colonial age. We're recovering the Coeur de Bois. I was really worried that I'm like, oh, did I not gather it? But I did. We're going to put them to wood. Notice while we aged up, by the way, we did a standard split, moving our villagers back to wood from food. And the reason why we did that was it's going to allow us to get our war hut built up quickly. And as you can see here, they're both clearly sending villagers here, and the game is going to be on. But like I previously mentioned, or maybe I didn't, if I didn't, my apologies, we did send 10 Macedonian as our first colonial age card, and looking back at this, that was a mistake, and here's why. Sending military units initially was a brilliant proper move, but What was not proper is I should have probably sent 6 Pumbaa to start. It might have allowed me to get better siege and take down these buildings before he gets any units out on the field. I think, I'm not sure. The 10 Macedonians though are going to initially at least do their job. As you can see though, Pink is going to end up walking behind me to work on getting me building a base behind my town. The Ottoman is indeed building a artillery foundry as was expected, so he is indeed going to be going Abyss, so we're likely looking at a Coyote Abyss mix. And as you can see, Blue has now sent 10 Macedonians of his own, and I was really hoping here that my Explorer was going to be able to melee a lot of those Macedonians down, but I kind of miscalculated though there. I actually take a little bit more damage from his Macedonians than I actually anticipated, so I'm actually losing my Macedonians, and my Explorer isn't doing as much as I thought he was, which is a bummer, but that's okay because the goal of that was not to necessarily kill him. It was almost only to buy time. Because the key to the fast rush is getting that fast rush and getting some kind of discernible advantage from it. If he doesn't get a discernible advantage from it, then his sacrificing his economy to attack me was more or less pointless. Now, however, the shoe is on the other foot. He's now got a bunch of Macedonians out on the field, but he's now going to have to come to my territory and protect me. Now, meanwhile, as he's trying to circle into my town with his Macedonians, I'm merely just going to march my Pumbaa around the back, as you guys see me do. I love that flanking and that walking around maneuvers. It's just so much fun to do. I'm going to hopefully get some siege damage on his own war hut. My hope was to kind of take it, but unfortunately for us, there come out some Janissaries at the just right moment, probably shipped from Blue's home city. But we're going to have to try to take down the take down that war hut and defend our own territory by ourselves. Fortunately, though, keeping the tempo there was brilliant because, as you can see there, at this point, Blue has 10 Macedonians. Orange has what, 5 Janissaries? So they have a decent army. In fact, they should, in theory, be able to march in, kill all our units, and then start sieging us and pretty much do whatever they want. However, because we've been keeping the pressure on with those Pumbaa, even though it's just 6 Pumbaa spearmen, way less than all their own men, it actually has bought us enough time for both Pink and I to get some men on the field. Pink's only got in a few skirmishers on the field, but I assume he's got more coming. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep making villagers, working on my economy. It was a little bit rough for me actually playing Aztec lately. I've been struggling to micromanage the fire pit, and I also don't know the hotkey for the war hut. If you want to let me know that in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. But it's been a little bit of a struggle for me to manage the Aztec economy, as I said, so it's been a little bit weird. But as you notice there, my 4th shipment overall, my 3rd, I think, in the colonial age, was indeed the 5 villagers, and the point of the 5 villagers was to allow me to really boom up my economy because they've been going so hard in the rush. I doubt they've sent 5 villagers. It looks like they've been only sending military units, so if all we have to do is hold off, and we're on the defensive behind a defensive building, so it really favors us just in terms of being able to hold them. Now I have 29 villagers total, which is fantastic for this point in the game to have 29 villagers. That's like almost as many as I made in one of my entire Ottoman matches, and now he's in trouble. But I do take this moment to tell Pink, I say, you know what? You need to mass some Hussar. Obviously, Hussar will kill everything they have on the field, besides for those few Pumbaa, but with some careful micromanagement, it won't be the end of the world. I really wanted to mace Macedonians. I really did not want to have to face... I didn't want to have to go heavy on the Coyotes, to be honest. Maybe I should have been more willing to. In fact, it probably would have been a little bit more efficient. But I figured Hussar was a better investment. And I actually looked to see if he's doing that. And he is indeed building a stable, so it's all working out well. And at this point, whether they like it or not, I'm inclined to think that the other teams lost the game. Their initial rush failed, and their economy's behind. And even me, who took the brunt of the damage, I'm doing exactly fine. And that's because the Aztecs have such great colonial age shipments. We actually have... I believe we have 5 villagers and 4 villagers. And my apologies for saying a lot this video. It's been a little bit of, it's been like maybe 5 or 6 days since I've done a live narration, and it's amazing to me just like how difficult it gets so quickly, which is a horrible excuse. I acknowledge it, so my apologies. I am massing Coyotes now though, which is very important. And the reason why I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to try to flank him. And I know I just said I don't want to make Coyotes, but I am going to end up doing that because I now want to start attacking his economy. I don't think that Yellow's economy, I am Yellow. I don't think that Blue's economy, which we do know from the scouting on the map, is close to me. I don't think Blue's economy can take being raided. I don't think he's, because of the massive military units he has near him, I don't think he's prepared to defend his hometown. Plus, I know that Yellow's here, and I think we have enough units here to hold it off. Plus, I'm also sending more. So as you can see, he's marching into my town here, and I'm just gonna, I think, march away. No, I'm not. I'm actually gonna circle back around. I thought about marching away, but I'm gonna end up just circling around. He's trying to run around with his coyotes, and we're all doing the exact same flanking thing. However, I think we're going to get the advantage here because, first off, Hussar are just massively massive. Second off, they're spending a lot more time marching around than actually attacking. And third, I think we actually have a pretty decent numerical advantage here. As you can see, I'm working on my economy. I don't know why I work on my economy so much during battles. I wish I worked on my economy that much outside of battles. I'd probably do a lot better. As you can see, though, Yellow's able to rout him, and my coyotes were able to get a lot of free hits on Orange, really pushing back his Abyss guns. Abyss guns are really, really powerful against everything but light cavalry, really. And unfortunately, that is what we are spamming out on the map now, which is really putting him in a lot of trouble. However, at this point, our economy is a little bit iffy. We are going to send 3 warrior priests, and I want to start making some warrior priests. And I tell my teammate my eco is great. I want him to know that. I want him to know that I've been out playing Blue, mainly because we're a mirror civ, and that's important to me. Not to be a jerk, but when I'm playing a mirror civ, I always compare myself to the other ones in the game, just because I want to know how I did relatively. It doesn't mean we're always equal or we should always be compared to each other, but for me, I like to feel at least like I did well relatively. Now, as you can see here, we have 16 coyote runners, and now we're going to circle around and hopefully start getting some pressure on some of Blue's herding. And really going to cause some problems. Meanwhile, we'll make more units up here, but Yellow has such a sizable army, I'm not worried about it. And I am sitting on a pretty big wood surplus, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build 2 war huts here. Or I'm going to start to build 2 war huts. I'll build that second one as soon as I have the wood too. And I'm really going to increase our fortified position by having 3 friendly buildings there to fire for us. I was really surprised, by the way, that Blue is not hurting in this area. So I was kind of like, okay, where's your economy? But I will end up finding a good amount of Blue's economy and really getting some pressure on him, which will be very, very rough for him. Hotkeys weren't the most best used. I'm not quite sure, weren't the most best used. Probably a better way to phrase that. Hotkeys weren't as fluent in this game as they could have been, as I already said. I don't know the hotkey for the war hut, and so that forced me to kind of look on the minimap and find them each time, which was bad. As you can see here, though, we do end up running in his town, and we are going to be able to kill at least 1 warrior priest, and that's important because I have a sinking and suspecting opinion that he will overreact to it and end up he'll end up moving all his villagers towards his town center from wherever they're gathering, which really will allow me to win whatever battle I'm in. I'll just run outside of his town center, look for more stuff, and I'll come back to kill whatever is there. I'm running low on food now at this point, which is less than ideal. However, Pink's Hussar is really carrying the day on our central battle. Having that second trading post up, or war hut up I should say, is also helping us just further fortify our position. And as you can see here, it's going to be a coyote on coyote battle, but it really is a bad spot to be in if you're either blue or pink in the middle. Not because their units are more, but just because they're not pushing, they're not controlling the flow or the tempo. Again, this is another point where they probably could have pushed and been really, really successful, but we did just enough to scare them away. Not to mention the coyotes being on their side of the map, it freaks you out. You're all of a sudden responding to pressure and responding to tempo, and you're not choosing the period and the place you want to attack, and that can be really rough for low ranked players to deal with. Obviously, a lot of high ranked players don't struggle as much, but at low ranks it can be struggle. I know I struggle under pressure. I'm a lot better at causing pressure, but the minute I'm under pressure, I'm not so good. Now, you may have noticed in that little skirmish, I put my coyote runners actually in front of his units. I killed 3 or 4 that I could get away with, and then I ran them away because the last thing I wanted them to do was I didn't want them to take superfluous damage, as I think I've coined the term, or peripheral damage was the term I've coined. I didn't want them to take peripheral damage from his town center, and I wanted them to be able to come back and do more damage. And at this point, I think I'm going to go for a trading post. Meanwhile, no, actually I might go and push them again, but going for their trading post is one thing I'm going to look at. They control 3 of the 5, which isn't a big deal if they don't have them upgraded, but at the same time, I'd like to kind of get some pressure on them. I don't like the idea of them having the trading post to themselves, but it was important to me, at least at this initial point, that I kill his villagers. I figured that was going to be more a threat and a problem for blue. rather than attacking the trading posts, just because it felt like the trading posts were not that big of a priority. And I think that's why trading posts can really be such a defining factor in games, because most people don't look at them as such a priority. But it doesn't matter, because at this point we're now pumping out coyotes pretty convincingly, not to mention that we still have the same 16, haven't lost any, running by Blues Town and appearing on different sides. And that's one thing that does bug me. I'm not an amazing player at this game, but I do try to kind of mix up my rushes, come in from one side, come in from the other, come in from the other, and it really irritates me when people run away from one side then run back in the exact same. It seems very predictable to me. Now, as you can see here, exact same thing, and I'm going to cut him off. I'm going to be able to trap 3, 1, 2. I get 2 kills. Do I get 3? I kill a warrior priest, which is great. Almost kill another unit, and then I run away. Again, I don't want to take any peripheral damage. I just want to cause him some problems and get out of there, and that's what we're going to do. And warrior priests are really hard to replace. And at this point, I say want to push because it's really more or less done. And I think we're at a point now where I should go for the trading post because that's more important. Not to mention now that orange has kind of moved back to protect me, or to protect blue, and pink has an absurd amount of units. He's simply just done a fantastic job. And after the initial rush lost for blue and orange, they never really picked it up again that well. But now we have coyotes incoming, and it's more or less going to be GG. I was trying to look for my warrior priest here, by the way. I couldn't figure out where they were. They're standing on the other side of my town center. I will find that out. But we're at a point where our game plan is merely just going to be to spam Macetulians as endlessly as we can and go for trading posts and force the game that way. And as you can see, we just got 14 Macetulians on the field nearly instantly, which is pretty awesome to be able to do. We are going to keep making villagers, sending them to wood because we're low on wood. And that's something I've actually struggled with. Just the Aztec resource balance is kind of tricky. Something we're going to look into. Something else we're going to look into, by the way, since as you can just see us kind of finish up this match here, is I'm going to look into doing an Aztec fast fortress. I know that the Aztecs have some pretty decent fortress H cards, so I'd like to see what they can do with the fast fortress, and I'll be working on developing that strategy tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully I'll bring a video of that to you soon. So keep your eyes out for that. It will hopefully be in a team game as well, and we'll really get Aztec playing down. Some things in this game that I should have worked on as we cleaned up is I should have worked on using the fire pit better, micromanaging it. As you can see here, I had so much wasted fire pit time. It was really atrocious. My economy wasn't super balanced. I never got the market upgrades, and a lot of basic newbie mistakes. But in my defense, a lot of those mistakes come from not playing the civilization. It can be hard to kind of keep jumping from civilization to civilization, all of a sudden trying to learn different build orders and the such, and that's something that I need to work on. But at the same time, it's kind of unfortunate for me because I feel like I play badly 2 out of my 5 videos a week, and then I play good for 3, but then I play badly, and that can be really frustrating. But it's no matter, because we're going to end up winning this game, and we're going to keep improving and getting better and better and better. And you know what, I'm just going to blame it on not having a really nice gaming mouse. If I had a great gaming mouse, all my problems would be solved. So I don't have a gaming mouse, so there's nothing I can do. It's not my fault. Either way, I talked with Yellow a little about my build order. It was a lot of fun. I tell him to look this video up on YouTube. He doesn't want it to go there, but it has to go there anyway because I needed something to put up today. And this was the only thing I had saved. I kind of keep my hard drive pretty clean. I move through content pretty quickly. I don't want my hard drive to be crammed full of random and superfluous stuff. So that's why, kind of a blowout. But I felt like this was a great game. It was a really good balance of like pushing. And here's the thing. They could have won that game. In fact, arguably they should have. There's several points, I think, in that game where if they had pushed smartly or gotten some pressure, some rating, they really could have turned the tide of the game and won. But they were very timid in terms of their attack, and you can't be timid when rushing. You have to keep the pressure. You have to blitzkrieg. You have to knock them off their feet. You have to kind of surround them and harass them and move them and force them to react to you. That's what's really important. And they didn't do that so much this game, so they paid for it with a loss. However, it was a good game, and I'm obviously not the best player, so I learned a lot from this game as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Before we leave today, a subscriber named Caleb Collins actually gave us our quote of the day today from Sun Tzu, ironically, and it's a great quote. I loved it, so I decided to put it in today's video, and it says, "If you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by." Guys, my name is BTM. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, good luck and happy hunting.